Happy Wednesday, my dear friends. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back. My name is Sarita. I have the microwave on and I apologize for that because I know it'll probably start beeping strangely at a certain point, but we are burning the candle at both ends today, if you know what I mean. Probably some of you are as well. So please, I crave your indulgence. We're just gonna have to go with it. I've got one candle review for you today. So I had a heart change because I thought to myself, I know I have like 12 candles to review, and I'm trying to push through them, or was going to try to push through all of them so that I could do an empties review December 1st on Sunday of all of these. But the reality of it is, it's just not worth it. It's not worth it to like rapid fire, like thrust all of these into your face, essentially. So I'm gonna just knock it down and do some reasonable candle reviews this week. I'll do the empties of the ones that I reviewed, and then I'll just push some of them into the first week of December. It's not a big deal, it's really not. So today I'm just gonna give you one candle, and this is a candle from Homeworx that has been repackaged. And weirdly, both iterations have appeared this year at the same time at TJ Maxx and Marshall's, and very oddly seem to just be coexisting, even though they're exactly the same candle. The candle in question is Amaretto Pumpkin right here. And I apologize for the lighting because once again, we are still waiting for a replacement for my ring light. So it's kind of what we got. Repackaged as Toasted Vanilla Pumpkin. And I actually just purchased these both from Marshall's. This one had the good grace to put the label on the bottom, but this one very thoughtlessly put it on the side. So yeah, they are the same fragrance. And I noticed that before I even looked at the notes, because I saw this one and I was like, oh my gosh, yes, I'm here for this already because I love an almond. I love an amaretto. Amaretto pumpkin smells amazing, sounds amazing, smells amazing. I was here for it. It was in my cart. And then I was heading down the aisle because I think this one was on an end cap. I was heading down the aisle and I was smelling some of the new, Slatkin candles that I was finding in the aisle. And I ran across this one right here, Toasted Vanilla Pumpkin, and I smelled it and I was like, oh yeah, that's great. And then I smelled it again and I was like, man, I'm getting a lot of almond amaretto there. And then I pulled this one back out from the cart and smelled them together. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is the exact same candle. And honestly, the first thought that I had was, oh my gosh, TJ Maxx and Marshall's once again. We've got some like complete mispour here. It's the same candle. I assume it's Amaretto Pumpkin. What is this Toasted Vanilla? Obviously, not whatever is in this jar. But then I looked to the back of the notes, and sure enough, they've got this exact same fragrance notes. Amaretto Vanilla Cream, Spiced Pumpkin, Cardamom, and Tonka Bean. So then I was curious because I thought to myself, why do they have the same scent notes? Because there will often be some like mispour situations. I have a couple coming up. You know what they probably are. And when they've been mispoured by Slatkin, they will often end up at Marshall's and TJ Maxx. But they usually have different scent notes, I mean, it's just that the packaging is wrong, but the fragrance is the same. So it made me pause when the notes were listed the same on both, under Toasted Vanilla Pumpkin, respectively, and Amaretto Pumpkin. So I did a little bit of research. I almost posted in the Homeworx Facebook group. Guys, help me out. Homeworx experts, are these the same candle? Why do they have the same scent notes? But then I did a little bit of research, and sure enough, they are in fact repours of each other, or repackages. So I believe, and I could be wrong about this, but I believe Amaretto Pumpkin came out first, and then it was repackaged shortly thereafter, and I don't know what the time frame was, if it was a year after or whatever else, as Toasted Vanilla Pumpkin. And then, like I said, very oddly, they've just kind of coexisted. I personally think that if you're gonna repackage, they shouldn't be anywhere near each other seasonally, or at least, I just wouldn't. And frankly, I would just retire one of them. If you've got but whatever, God bless, it's fine. Amaretto Pumpkin, I burned all the way down to the wick clips in one special wick. Really went the distance, and the other 3 did not. It's kind of creamy wax. Toasted Vanilla Pumpkin, I have not burned. I was going to burn this one, and I'm actually not, for reasons that I will reveal later. This cream wax, though, is a little peachier. I think it's really pretty. And for my money, this pour actually does seem strangely a little bit stronger on cold than the pumpkin amaretto did. They're obviously the same fragrance, but I wouldn't be surprised if this one is just a little bit louder once it's burned. This one was poured in May of this year, and the amaretto was poured in July. So a couple months later was the amaretto pumpkin. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, well, let's keep the lids in the right place just because this one's dirtier. So I liked this candle, and I kind of have a sense at this point as to why it was repackaged. So when you smell it on cold, it is a very strong, like, almond note. And it's like it's not quite pure almond extract, but it's definitely more of a distilled almond distillation. Yeah, that was redundant there. It's an almond distillation with some sugar, and it reminds you of an almond extract, but it's a bit softer. And it may just be that almond extract note is being more expertly blended than in other fragrances that have that strong almond extract note. Almond extract, I suspect, and this is just from my experience smelling candles that have a very strong almond extract smell. Bath & Body Works has had a couple over the years. Aldi had one that everybody like oohed and awed over. I think it was called like white almond flower or something like that. Nothing floral about that. I mean, that was just straight up almond extract all the way, and God bless. I mean, some people really loved it, but there was really nothing more to that candle than almond extract. In real life, IRL, when you're baking, and in candle form, from what I can tell, that almond extract note can overwhelm very quickly overwhelm anything else that is in your candle. And so you do need to be sparing and thoughtful about the way you use almond extract. I'm actually a pretty good baker, and there are certain extracts, vanilla being the obvious one, that you can be pretty generous with your pour, if you know what I mean. Almond extract, peppermint extract. I mean, there are certain extracts where, like, if the recipe calls for 1/4 teaspoon, you need to do 1/4 teaspoon and absolutely not a drop more. Not a drop more. And I've learned that the hard way. So I don't know if this is a true almond extract note, and Harry Slatkin has just done a much more like professional and like has just executed this this fragrance note a little bit better so that it does not become like really kind of cloying and alcoholic and overwhelming. It's really blending beautifully with also a very like toasty pumpkin spice. It's nice. It's not, I mean, it doesn't necessarily break the mold of anything, but it is really nice having that high forward almond note and the pumpkin spice kind of take a background, you know, seat. And those notes actually go together quite well. So I was very excited about this because I do love an almond extract. I do love an almond note. I even like that pure distilled almond note, but it does need something else. And I thought to myself as I smelled this, oh, this smells fantastic. This is perfect with the roasted pumpkin spice, which is providing some warmth and some dimension, and it's just exactly what that kind of high almond extract note really needs. So I was really excited about this candle. Unfortunately for me, once it is burned, the clarity, the sweetness of that almond note kind of sinks into the candle. Very much like a baked product would. It just doesn't have the same like brilliance once it's burned, once it's baked, whatever else. It comes down in the register and suffuses a little bit more. In this case, the pumpkin spice bested it though. So the roasty toastedness of it really became, and the spice part of it became more of the center stage, and the almond, whatever was so beautifully, brilliantly, and like uniquely almond about this fragrance just kind of morphed into a generic toasty nuttiness. And then the pumpkin spice became the most brilliant thing about it. Definitely in a lower register. And as with, what was it? Oh, the Cafe Latte candle from Bath & Body Works, actually, that was less coffee as it was burned and much more this like toasted, nutty vanilla tonka bean adjacent kind of note. That's a little bit what was coming through in this candle. It was very like roasty, toasty, and vanilla, and vaguely nutty, but not an overt nut, certainly not an overt almond. And to be honest, I was getting something very savory, maybe a little bit of ginger in there. It just got very gourmandy for me. Gourmandy, and more so than I was comfortable with. So I wouldn't repurchase this, and it just wasn't for me. That said, the strength and throw on it was very decent. I mean, I think in the open concept, it was probably giving at least a 6, a 6.5, something like that. Obviously even better in a back bedroom, and I wouldn't even bother putting this in a small space like a bathroom. Like, it really does do a pretty good job. It's a nice pumpkin spice, very nut forward, very almost savory gourmand quality to it. But like I said, for me, it was like, I just don't do gourmands all that well. That being said, I can't imagine that this isn't a winner in a lot of other people's books and a lot of other people's minds. So I think it's great. I really do. It's just not my version of pumpkin spice. I was kind of thinking it would be more on the amaretto side of things, and I could really get behind that. But as it turned out, it was just much more of a toasted, roasted, gourmandy nut pumpkin spice. And yeah, almost a bready quality to it. So it's just not my favorite pumpkin spice, but it really performed pretty well. And that's why I haven't bothered to burn this one, because I think I'm going to give it to my mother-in-law for Thanksgiving. I think she'll love this one. I think it'll have pride of place. It performs well. I'll obviously take off the discount bargain tag on it. But yeah, I think that she'll like this a great deal. And I have very basic gourmandy sisters now that will also love it. So I think this is going to be a big splash tomorrow at Thanksgiving, and I'm really happy that I tried it for sure. And like I said, I think it's a very decent candle. I just wanted the amaretto note to come through a little bit more. I wanted that high almond note. And my concern initially was that it was going to overwhelm things, and as it turned out, it was in fact overwhelmed. So it must be a really tricky note, that almond extract note in fragrance, to get right. And maybe it's one of those where like you need it uber strong on cold for it to come over once it's burned. And I should just say, as a disclaimer and as an apology, I have actually never burned the Aldi Sweet Almond Flower candle. So while I am somewhat put off by that strong almond extract note, maybe if I burned it, it'll be just right. And if maybe there's other things, other layers, other aspects to that candle that will come forward once in fact it's burned. So if I see it at some point, I may pick that up. Just because now that I've burned this, I kind of have a sense of the fact that that particular fragrance note is actually maybe hard to amplify. So there you have it. That's what this candle was. And actually this candle burned similarly in terms of fragrance profile to another one from Bath & Body Works that I'm going to review shortly. In fact, that'll be the next one that I review. So look for that. Very similar candles. Similar in the way that they performed, similar in the way that they came across, similar in their fragrance profile, etc. So yeah, I do recommend it, and especially if you're lean more gourmandy, I think you'd be really happy with this candle. what I meant to say is that I'm not surprised as to why it was repackaged as toasted vanilla pumpkin, because honestly, the amaretto kind of fades away once you burn it. And then I think that toasted vanilla pumpkin is actually a more accurate assessment of what it is that you're smelling. And I am fully in support. I'm sorry about the microwave. I am fully in support of a repackage and a rebrand once the candle has kind of made its way through the production, hit the consumers. I mean, not hit the consumers, but been distributed amongst the consumers, gotten some feedback. Actually, this candle, while we had a certain vision for it, just ended up actually performing and emerging as something a little bit different. So we're gonna repackage and remarket it. I'm a huge fan of that, and I wish candle companies did it more often, especially for the ones that like otherwise would be kind of buried. I'm looking at you in recent past, Bath & Body Works Cocoa Roasted Chestnuts, for instance, which should be repackaged as something so much more accurate to what that fragrance is because it's gorgeous. Yankee Candle has had many of those because they recently have been in the business of, I can only imagine, intentionally mismarketing fragrances. So yeah, I'm a huge fan of repackages, remarkets. What I kind of don't understand is why they are both existing. Just retire the Amaretto Pumpkin, retire it, and keep the toasted vanilla pumpkin. And then maybe in the distant future, maybe develop a true Amaretto Pumpkin that smells that way once it's burned. And everybody will be like, it'll be like Josh and Kent will all be like, so here's some history. This candle actually came out, blah, blah, blah. It was called Amaretto Pumpkin back then, but now we know that fragrance as toasted vanilla pumpkin, and that's probably fine because the amaretto note didn't come through so well. But now we have a complete reformulation of something that, I can just see it in my mind's eye how this is all gonna play out. So Harry Slatkin, if you're watching, and I know that you're not, please think about reformulating Amaretto Pumpkin into something that once it's burned actually smells like amaretto. And keep the toasted vanilla pumpkin, because I know there's probably a lot of people that love this candle, and they should. They should. It's just my own peculiar preferences that make it like not a love for me. So, but it will make a lot of my family members super happy tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving to all of you tomorrow. Watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, please. Because it's my favorite thing in the world. It's my heart's true love. I actually took a pilgrimage to New York City one year to see the Macy's Day Thanksgiving Parade live. It was actually the coldest Thanksgiving parade on record, I think, since 1912 or something like that. I mean, it was like the wind chill was significantly below zero. So yeah, but I braved it. I was there. It was so exciting. I want to go back. I'm a parade girl, and I love Macy's so much, and I love Miracle on 34th Street, and I just think that my whole love for Macy's and the Macy's Parade has kind of, been a conflation of a lot of different loves and nostalgic things in my past. And oh my gosh, Thanksgiving is so amazing. It's so perfect. It's so almost spiritual. I just love Thanksgiving so much. And then that we can turn the corner within 24 hours and the whole and this is the beautiful thing about the Macy's Parade, how it starts out with the float of the turkey and everything is very fall themed, and then just seamlessly as the parade goes by, it starts shifting and the floats start becoming a little bit more snowy, a little bit more Christmassy, and then at the end it's Santa Claus. And it's just almost like a liturgy of the experience that we all have psychologically of Thanksgiving. And then by Black Friday, it being lights, camera, action, it's Christmas time. All the Christmas albums come out, etc. So I have always resisted the urge to play Christmas music before Thanksgiving, or buy a whole lot of Christmas presents or get in a whole lot of a Christmas mood, primarily because I just love the experience, that 24 hours of Thanksgiving, from the morning, having your coffee, watching the parade, having kind of a gratitude and like harvesty kind of moment. I just think that's gorgeous. And then by the end of the evening, snowflakes, Christmas lights, peppermint mochas, and we're going shopping tomorrow. And when are we going to get our Christmas tree? I just think it's so fantastic. So I'm sorry for that, like that whole little thing, but it's honestly my favorite time of the year, honestly. And as much as I love Christmas Eve, especially, there is something almost anticlimactic about Christmas when it actually happens because of how it begins. So if you feel any part of that, join me in watching the parade tomorrow and setting some time aside for yourself. I know it's crazy. I know it's loud, whatever else. Setting some time aside for yourself, taking a moment, closing your eyes, like just feeling grateful for your life, for your family, for your health, for anything in your life that you can be grateful and thankful for. And really just centering yourself, and then finding that amazing Christmas cheer at the end of the evening. With your turkey sandwiches, you know, with the mayonnaise and whatnot, at least if you're from the Midwest. Thank you, my friends, so much. I will catch you in the next one.